Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Stuff video. Today, we are talking about the Baltimore Ravens and my offseason plan to get Lamar a Super Bowl victory with his new coaching staff. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So the Baltimore Ravens made some coaching hires. They moved on from John Harbaugh. They moved on from Todd Monken. They moved on from Zach Gore. Whole new coaching staff, which I'm honestly very excited about. I love all the coaches that they hired. But let's get into it. First off, at head coach, they hired Jesse Minter. In my opinion, Jesse Minter was the best first-time head coach on the defensive side of the ball option. You know, there are other options, like I thought Brian Flores was the best overall defensive coordinator option. But for the first-timers, I thought Jesse Minter was the best option. Baltimore lands him as, I believe, the third hire this cycle. He inherits an offense ready to win, so all he really needs to do is fix this defense, because the offense, no matter who you have as an offensive coordinator, is going to produce. Now all he has to do is get that defense turned around, and this should be a top 5 team in the NFL next year. He got the most out of an average edge rusher group last year and the year before, to be honest with you. Khalil Mack missed a lot of games. All they really had was Tuli Tuipulotu, and then he traded for Odafe Owe mid-season, got him over 10 sacks. So I really do think that Jesse Minter has done a very good job getting the most out of an average edge rushing group. He did develop guys like Tarheeb Still and Tuli Tuipulotu. He runs a 3-4 defense, so no needed roster overhaul. They already ran a 3-4 defense. Jesse Minter could come in and instill his defensive play calls, the way he generates pressures, his stint packages. Super easy for him to come in and just kind of take over that unit. Lamar finally gets a great defense to play opposite. The issue that Lamar's had the last couple of years is that when he has a really good defense, his offense falls off a cliff. But when his offense is really good, their defense isn't very good. It's always been the issue. Now, with Derrick Henry and this offense in a draft and offseason to invest in it, with this defense that they already have, I do think this is the year for the Ravens to go all in and try and win a Super Bowl. And we saw that when the owner came out and talked after John Harbaugh got fired. The owner did a press conference. He said he doesn't want to own this team for another 10 years. He wants to trade. He wants to get rid of it. He wants another ownership group to take care of it, and he wants to try and win another Super Bowl within the next 10 years. And I think moving on from John Harbaugh was the commitment that Lamar is the quarterback till he retires. And they finally get that guy to be opposite of Lamar Jackson for the second stint of his career to try and win a Super Bowl. The Los Angeles defense last year was number 6 in yards per game, number 3 in first downs per game, and number 2 in turnover percentage per game. So they generated turnovers, they held teams to not a lot of first downs, and they were very good against when it comes to yardage. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to defense. I think this is a great hire. I give it an A+ hire. I thought of all the hires, this is the one that had the chance to be the best out of the entire group in 5 years. Then for his coordinators, he continued to stack talent on talent for his coordinators. For his OC, he hired Declan Doyle. He was the offensive coordinator for the Bears in 2025, and he was a tight ends coach with Sean Payton in 2023 and 2024. So the last 3 seasons, he was under 2 of the best offensive minds. That is an exciting hire for Jesse Minter. And now Declan Doyle has a chance to build himself a head coaching resume. In the next 2 years, he can turn this offense into a top 10 offense, and to continue this top 10 offense, and that defense can turn into a top 10 defense. This would be a scary team, and Declan Doyle could get poached in a couple of years to be a head coach elsewhere. I am very excited to see the Ravens pass game under Declan Doyle, because I do think this will become more of a pass-heavy team, with obviously the Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry of it all. But I think there will be a lot more focus on generating big pass game plays versus generating big run game plays. Then a defensive coordinator, grabbing Anthony Weaver, the DC from Miami, who was in a lot of head coaching discussions the last 2 years. I think he's a very inspired hire. Get someone who honestly has never worked with Jesse Minter, so he's gonna give him a lot of different ideas what he can do, and it gives him another year to kind of get another defense under his belt, another team, and maybe next year try and get that head coaching job he's been looking for. It's just insane that they landed Anthony Weaver. I thought it was a great hire. Defense did take a step back this year, but was good before the injuries mounted in Miami. His pressure packages are very forward-thinking, and he's good at getting the most out of mediocre secondaries. So while, in my opinion, Jesse Minter was great at getting the most out of mediocre pass rushes and defensive tackle rooms, Anthony Weaver got the most out of mediocre secondaries. I think together, this defense is going to be dominant. Special teams still not been hired. It's unknown as of now, so I can't really talk about it. But just the coordinators, A+. And if you look at their position coaches, it's even more A+. I have loved what the Baltimore Ravens have done this year. It sucks as I have to face them twice a year as a Browns fan, but I'm telling you, this could be easily a Super Bowl winning team if everything goes right next year. So, Now onto the cuts and or trades. Now that all the coaching hires have been talked about, cuts and or trades in 2026, you're at positive $22 million. In 2027, positive 33, and in 2028, positive 203. So, a little bit of money to work with. I do want to open up some more money, do some restructures, do some cuts. And the first cut I'm going to do is Cooper Rush, the backup quarterback. Cooper Rush last year had 300 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He's a horrid backup quarterback choice for Lamar. They run very different offenses. I don't understand what that idea of let's sign Cooper Rush to a 2-year, $5 million deal was. It makes no sense. It's just not a good fit for Cooper Rush in Baltimore. So we're going to save $2 million moving on from him. We're going to get another veteran to back him up that fits his play style, and he can land elsewhere due to his experience. But I just want to get rid of him. Not a good scheme fit, and I want to get someone that actually plays like Lamar to an extent, so the offense does not have to change all that much if Lamar misses games. No other cuts. That's just a big cut. That's the big thing I want to move on from. $2 million out of the backup quarterback position. Then I'm going to restructure Lamar Jackson. Again, he's my quarterback moving forward for the next 10 years. So I'm going to make sure we restructure him. They are talking about doing an extension for him. I read that this morning, that they're still working through an extension talks with Lamar Jackson. I'm going to push that off one more year. I'm just going to restructure him, and in 2027, once he has that really big cap number from all these restructures, we're going to extend him, lower that cap hit all the way down to $1 million, and move on. But we're going to save $38 million in cap space this year in that restructure, meaning we're now positive $62 million in cap space this season to re-sign our guys, get some extensions done. 2027, you're at positive 21. But again, next year, you can extend Lamar Jackson, lower his cap hit all the way down to like $1.5 million to his base salary, and push that way back into the future years. So re-signs and extensions, positive $62 million. Feeling good about it. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to extend Tyler Linderbaum. Now, the rumor is this is not going to happen. He's going to test free agency, but I don't care. This is my world, my offseason plan. I'm extending Tyler Linderbaum to be the number 1 center in the NFL. This last year, he had an 80 PFF grade, 84 run blocking, 63 pass blocking, 5 penalties, and 2 sacks. He's been a top 5 center in football since his rookie season. These last 5 years have been exactly what the Baltimore Ravens needed out of Tyler Linderbaum. He's integral to what Baltimore does every single season. He's a fantastic run blocker. I think he's a very good pass blocker as well. I think a lot of that, the PFF grades, is because of how bad Daniel Falele next to him was. It kind of made Tyler Linderbaum look bad as well. But I'm giving Tyler Linderbaum a 5-year, $70 million deal, $42 million guaranteed at 60%. I am making sure. Oh, no, sorry, it'd be a 4-year. It's a 4-year because there's a void year. I miscounted. It's a 4-year, $70 million deal, $42 million guaranteed at 60% guaranteed. We're getting a little bit of a hometown discount because he's staying in Baltimore, staying where he now has a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, and now you're really feeling, oh, this could be a Super Bowl pushing team. So a little under that $20 million a year that he's definitely wanting, but still a really great number. He gets to stay in Baltimore, and the Baltimore Ravens feel very good that their anchor, the offensive line, is there for the next 4 years. Next is going to be Alohi Gilman, who Jesse Minter is very familiar with. Alohi Gilman had 67 tackles, 0 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 17 run stops, and 6 pass breakups. The Baltimore defense, they jumped from bottom 5 to top 5 post-trade of Alohi Gilman. It freed up Kyle Hamilton to do what he does best, and that's roam. He's a sure tackler, and he did help Malachi Starks as well be himself at free safety, with Alohi Gilman taking a lot of strong safety responsibility. I think it makes a lot of sense to re-sign him. Jesse Minter already knows about Alohi Gilman. And if he watches the film, he sees that him, Malachi Starks, and Kyle Hamilton were a great safety trio this last year. So I'm going to give him a 2-year, $10.5 million deal, $6.5 million guaranteed. That is 65% guaranteed. To bring him back, the reason I'm doing a lot more of a guaranteed is because he did get traded from the Chargers, where he was with Jesse Minter the last 2 years. So I think there could be a little bit of like bad blood of like, I just left you for a reason. I shined in Baltimore, and now you want me to re-sign with the dude who we're trying to get away from. I think there is a little bit of that, but I want to re-sign him if he's willing to stay, because we saw what he can do with Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks. Next could be Isaiah Likely. Again, I know it's unlikely, but I want to make sure that we can try and get the best weapon in free agency that we have back. This last year, he had 27 receptions, 307 yards, and 1 touchdown. He has shown he can handle more targets. He's an amazing run blocker. He's developed that over the 4 years he's been in the NFL. He's become an amazing run blocker. He also become a great receiving option. He was kind of that coming out of Coastal Carolina, but the run blocking has really developed well. I just don't see Declan Doyle letting him walk. Declan Doyle coming from the Chicago Bears, where he just had Colson Loveland and Cole Kmet, and he saw how valuable having 2 great tight ends was. I just don't see a world where Isaiah Likely walks in the Baltimore Ravens with this offensive coordinator. So we're going to give him a 3-year, $27.5 million deal, $16.5 million guaranteed at 60%. He gets that $9 million average that I think is kind of market value for Isaiah Likely, and he gets to stay in Baltimore with an offense that he just saw have success in 12 personnel. So a lot of the things that are similar with the Ravens that have been successful the last few years with Todd Monken stay in Baltimore. Now in free agency, you're at positive $48 million. Still really good. We're going to be spending a lot of money. Next year, you get negative $5 million. That's whatever. Again, when you restructure Lamar Jackson, you be getting a lot of that money back. And then 2028, positive 168. But the first free signing I'm going to be making is Marquise Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown last year had 49 receptions, 587 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I'm going to have him return home. From everything I've read, this was more of a John Harbaugh and Marquise Brown didn't get along than it was Lamar and Marquise Brown, especially because they've been very good friends since he was drafted. We're going to have him return home. Showed he still has that elite downfield ability the last 2 years in Kansas City. Lamar needs more scramble drill targets. I want to get someone who, 1, knows Lamar and how he plays, and 2, has shown in the NFL he has the ability to get deep, get open, and make plays when guys are scrambling like he does with Patrick Mahomes. I want to get Marquise Hollywood Brown back in a Ravens jersey. They're still very close friends as well, and I just don't think there's going to be a big market for Marquise Brown. So I'm going to give him a 1-year, $4 million deal, fully guaranteed. I want to get him back in the Baltimore Ravens jersey. I don't think the fans are really against Marquise Brown. I think a lot of it was just the front office and head coach were against Marquise Brown. So new head coach, new offense. I think this will be a very pass-heavy offense. So let's get Marquise Brown, who's a great pass-catching option. Next is going to be Evan Neal. Evan Neal didn't play last year at all. He's been a whiff of a draft pick so far, former first-round pick. I think he'll be an excellent guard, so we're signing Evan Neal to play right guard for us. Very athletic for his size. He was injured all year, but I do think that athleticism, that pass blocking and run blocking prowess that got him drafted in the first round is still there. I just don't think he has the speed to make it on an island at right tackle. So we're going to move him over to right guard and feel, kind of see like, hey, what can you become now that you're here in Baltimore with a different offense with Lamar Jackson behind you? Yeah, I think he'd be a great athletic guard. So I'm going to give him a 1-year, $2.5 million deal to come over, make that switch to right guard, and see if you can kind of awaken something in him in the second stint of his career. Next, we're going to be signed is Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the backup quarterback. This last year, he had 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in relief of Josh Allen. Lamar's health has become a little bit of an issue. In the last 3 or 4 years, he's missed a substantial amount of games. So I do want to get Mitchell Trubisky to be that backup because I think there's a chance that if Lamar goes out with injury, Mitchell Trubisky can run this offense very similarly. Mitch is the best play style fit in free agency. Plus, he has a lot of starts under his belt. Taking the team to the playoffs twice in Chicago. Time with the Steelers, time with the Bills. I think it's a great fit for him offensively and also for the Ravens for a backup quarterback. And it seems like he's a great locker room guy. Everyone that has followed Mitchell Trubisky has said he's a fantastic teammate, but obviously the play has not backed that up. So we're going to give him a 1-year, $5.5 million deal to come and be the backup to Lamar Jackson and kind of shore up that offensive quarterback room. So it's very clear. Lamar is a starter. Mitchell Trubisky is the backup. But I think having him in that corner of Lamar Jackson and as the backup for him would be a highly, highly useful weapon for this offense in case Lamar goes down with injury. Finally, the last guy I'm going to do a real talk about is Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier last year had 514 yards and 8 touchdowns with 14 10-plus yard runs. So he's a very valuable running back. Is he a starter? No. I'm going to have him be the backup to Derrick Henry. Get another guy that can match his play style. Because right now, all the running backs you have on roster are very elusive pass-catching speedsters. And then you have Derrick Henry. So I want to grab Tyler Algier. He's going to be the backup to Derrick Henry. Can play very similar to him. I just don't see Algier getting a starting job elsewhere. And I don't see the Falcons re-signing him because they want Bijan Robinson to be the absolute bell cow that he should be. And they don't need a guy taking 8 touchdowns away from him. So we're going to sign Tyler Algier to a 1-year, $4 million deal, fully guaranteed, to ensure that we have competent backups at quarterback and running back for our aging veterans who deal with injury. That's my take, that we should have someone that can, take over for Derrick Henry if he does get injured. Other signings, Rashawn Jenkins, safety, was with the Browns last year. Very good tackler, very good on special teams. He's going to be a backup safety for us. And Kyle Van Noy, we're going to bring back to the Baltimore Ravens for another season. 1 year, $2.5 million to be a veteran edge rusher for this team. Then in the draft, you're at positive $32 million. So you still have a lot of money if you want to go out and sign another wide receiver, maybe sign another edge rusher. You can do that, but I'm going to keep that money and let it roll over to next year because you have negative $5 million. I want to eat as much of that negative $5 million as I possibly can with that rollover cap of $32 million. And in the draft, here's how I decided to go. At number 14, the Baltimore Ravens are here to grab Denzel Boston, wide receiver from Washington. This is the range where I have Denzel Boston. That 14 to 20 range is where I think he's really going to find his money. He's 6'4", 209. He's my favorite wide receiver, not in the top 10. So not Mekhi Lemon, not Jordan Tyson, and not Cardinal Tate. Denzel Boston's right there. Right? It goes Denzel Boston, Bryce Lance, and Skylar Bell are my three guys that I really like outside the top 10. And I think if the Baltimore Ravens can get him, that'd be a great infusion of talent to this wide receiver core. He's a great route runner, great hands in open space. And if you watched him, he played a lot like Devontae Adams this year, where in the red zone, he maximized those snaps, getting a lot of touches and touchdowns. My comp is Rome Odunze. I think he could be a wide receiver 2 right away. And you have Rashad Bateman, you have Tez Walker, you have other guys on this roster already producing for Lamar. Denzel Boston could step in that wide receiver 2 role, the opposite boundary guy right away. And I do think he has the upside to become the wide receiver 1 as the season goes on. But immediately, wide receiver 2 at 14, you got to invest in that wide receiver position for the future with Declan Doyle. So I'm going to grab Denzel Boston. Then at 45, I'm going to grab Dante Corleone, the D tackle from Cincinnati. He's a starting D tackle right away. Now, he is technically a nose tackle, but I'm going to move into D tackle because Nandi Madubuike might have to medically retire. That's what every single beat reporter that I've been reading up about this team has been saying, and that there could be a really high chance that Nandi Madubuike has to medically retire because of his neck injury. But Dante Corleone, fantastic run stopper. Again, I do think he's a nose tackle, so he's a 1 tech, but I think he could move to 2 or 3 tech in the NFL. He has good sideline speed to track down runners. I think it makes a lot of sense. Bolsters his defensive line room, and you already signed Travis Jones, your nose tackle, to an extension. You have Nandi Madubuike as of right now still on the roster. Draft Dante Corleone, so in case Madubuike has to retire, you have him right there, can start immediately. If not, he can be that other guy behind Tavius Robinson, who played really well last year. So at worst, this is a play for the future at the D tackle position. Then at 80, I'm going to grab edge Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State. Danny is a very high upside pass rusher. If you watch a lot of my videos, he's one of those guys that always ends up somewhere in my mock drafts because I think he's a great dude in the 3rd or 4th round to get as an edge rusher. He is 6'5", 265. He consistently produces no matter what, no matter the talent around him, he's producing. He's had 22 sacks the last 3 seasons. And I think immediately he can be in rotation as a more consistent guy because you have a lot of upside, right? You have Mike Green. You have, Mike Green. Who else did I sign? You have Mike Green, Adisa Isaac. That's what I'm thinking of. You have Mike Green, Adisa Isaac, Cal Van Noy. That's your 3 guys right now. So Danny Sutton is more of a, hey, we know what he's going to be immediately. Let's just draft him so we have a guy that can elevate the floor a little bit more than it is right now. That's Danny Sutton. Not a boomer bust dude. I don't see him as a starter on this team, but I do see him as a guy who can get like 5 sacks a year in the NFL. And hey, you'll take that in the 3rd round. Then in the 4th round at 115, I'm going to grab left tackle J.C. Davis from Illinois. He's at worst a swing at a long-term left tackle. Wow, why am I blanking on his name? It's their left tackle. Their franchise, Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley is not getting any younger, right? He's only getting older and older and more expensive. This is a swing at a potential replacement of Stanley in a year or 2. So JC Davis in the 4th round, he's 6'5", 335. He doesn't overplay his step. He knows what he's doing, and he's very effective at what he's doing. Lots of starting experience in college football. He's a former D tackle turned left tackle as well. He's a great pass protector. He's fluid on his feet, and I think that will match what Lamar Jackson wants to do. Because if JC Davis has to stay upright and maneuver around the line of scrimmage to protect Lamar Jackson, he has the athletic ability to do that. Again, former D tackle turned left tackle. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to grab a JC Davis type of guy in the 4th round. Then at 152, I'm gonna grab Ndamukong Tucker. Again, another edge rusher. I want to infuse as much talent to his edge room as possible. Led the nation in sacks and TFLs. It's just a swing at someone who's developed well over the last 3 years, finally gets true starting minutes, and flourishes immediately with 14 sacks. He has a high motor, long arms. I think Jesse Minter, he has turned water into wine before in LA. So I think taking shots in the middle of the day 3 with Danny Sutton and Ndamukong Tucker, that is something I think could be an elite duo of, hey, these guys might boom, they might bust, but at worst, they will be on this roster for 4 years. Then at 160, I'm going to grab Oscar Delp, the tight end from Georgia. Delp is a run blocking tight end with some red zone prowess. I do think long term he could replace Isaiah Likely. He's more of a run blocker immediately off the bat than Isaiah Likely was, but he's very fast with the ball in his hands. They're saying that Oscar Delp might run the fastest 40-yard dash of the tight ends at the combine. We'll see. But from everything I've seen, he's a very good tight end. I think you'd easily see a 300-yard, 5-touchdown season out of him his rookie year, behind Mark Andrews, behind Isaiah Likely, and that's when everyone's gonna be like, oh, cool. We now have 3 really good tight ends that Lamar Jackson can throw the ball to, because he's going to be on the field for those run blocking situations, so he's going to be able to get some of those dump offs, and because of his speed, I think he'll be able to take those dump offs further than a lot of other tight ends could do. Next, at 172, I'm going to take a shot at a center in Parker Brailsford from Alabama. He is undersized. He's 6'2", only 290 pounds, so I think he could slip even further from the 5th round. But if it's just pure talent, this dude's a starting center from Alabama. He should be a 3rd or 4th round guy, right? Immediately. I do think the Ravens, at minimum, will tag Tyler Linderbaum, and they can let Parker Brailsford sit for a year, gain some weight, get used to the NFL, get NFL body weight ready, and then next year move on from Tyler Linderbaum. But if they let him walk, I just don't see Parker as a starter. I see him more as a developmental guy long term, but he's at least solid as a backup. Then at 173, gonna grab another backup in Jaden Kennedy. He's 5'11", 185. He's an undersized, underweight corner, but he showed out against some elite talent, right? This dude is at Oregon. He went up against some of the best passing offenses in the league, in college football, and he did not let up. Jaden Kennedy played slot. He played some boundary as well. This last year, he allowed 1 touchdown with, he caught 2 interceptions. I think this team is very desperate at corner. So if they can get a dude who went to a premier D1 school and played a lot of snaps at that D1 school and is a redshirt senior, so a lot of football has been played, I think in the 5th round, you're willing to take a shot on a little bit of an undersized dude, just like you did with Parker Brailsford. Then at 249, I'm going to grab guard Caden Barnett from Wyoming. He has experience at right tackle and right guard. He's 6'5", 320. Great size for a guard. He's just a developmental swing. Nothing crazy about it. There's a backup that maybe can turn into something. And the guy that's going to be a backup that I think can turn into something is Mo Westmoreland from Tulane at edge. Another rotational pass rusher. He adds another young guy to this room for minutes to compete with. The last 3 years at Tulane, he has 20 sacks. Again, just a dude who can come into that room, compete, be a young option for the future. So you'd have a future of Danny, Nadame, and Mo. I think in 2 or 3 years, you can look back at this draft and say, wow, they got all 3 quality edge rushers in day 2 and 3 of the 2026 NFL draft. That's a steal. So I like it. It gives me a B. I like it. Again, Parker Brailsford, Jaden Kennedy, Oscar Delp. I get why they're not highly graded, but I love the Westmoreland pick in the 7th. I love Nadame Tucker in the 5th. J.C. Davis, a possible left tackle. Danny could play immediately. Dante Corleone could play immediately. And Denzel Boston's a start day 1. Then, for the projected depth chart, at quarterback, you have Lamar Jackson and Mitchell Trubisky. I love that pairing at quarterback. They both play very similarly. At running back, I'm going to carry 5 running backs. I got Derrick Henry, Tyler Algier, Keaton Mitchell, Rasheen Ali, and Justice Hill. Everyone does stuff differently. Some of them are great pass blockers. Some of them are great downhill running backs. Some are great with speed. I love this running back room. At tight end, you got Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and Oscar Delp. At wide receiver, you got Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Tez Walker as your starters, with Denzel Boston, LaJohntay Wester, and Marquise Brown. You have speed, you have possession, you have size, you have slot receivers that you really like. I really like this wide receiver core because you got a 6'4" guy in Denzel Boston, speedsters in Marquise Brown and Tez Walker, possession in Zay and Rashad Bateman, and LaJohntay Webster, it can be your returner. Then the offensive line, you got Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees, Tyler Linderbaum, Emory Jones, and Roger Rosengarten as your starters. I do think Evan Neal would beat out Emory Jones at guard, so just swap those if you want to. Then for the backups, you got J.C. Davis, Caden Barnett, Parker Brailsford, and Carson Vincent, with either Emory Jones or Evan Neal being the backup. That's your offense. I love that offense. Again, this offense doesn't need a lot of improvement, just kind of infusions at certain places, and that's what I did at wide receiver and at running back. Then on the defensive side of the ball is where a lot of that turnover is going to happen. At D-tackle, you got Nandi Madubuike, Travis Jones, and Tavius Robinson, with backups of Dante Corleone, John Jenkins, and Broderick Washington. So even if Nandi retires, you still got Broderick Washington, you drafted Dante Corleone, you could all sign someone off the street as well. I really like the D-tackle room. At edge rusher, this is where the most infusion of talent happened. You got Mike Green, Adisa Isaac, Kyle Van Noy, Danny Dennis Sutton, Mo Westmoreland, and Nadame Tucker. Great edge rushing room. That is 3 guys that are rookies that all could immediately get high amounts of snaps, with Mike Green, who's a former first-round pick, Adisa Isaacs, a former second or third-round pick, Kyle Van Noy being the veteran in the room. I love the optics of this pass rusher room. Then at linebacker, Teddy Buchanan can come back healthy from his injury. Roquan Smith, Trenton Simpson, Jay Higgins. Solid linebacker room. At corner, you then have Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins. Good. Your corners are fine. The issue with their corners was depth. Now you have TJ Tampa, Jaden Kennedy, Robert Longerbeam, and Bilal Cohn. Yes, you could go and sign another corner. That may be something with the $30 million of cap space you had before the draft, is go sign a premier, like, someone that you know, a name that you know can be pretty solid at corner. Whether it's Isaiah Rodgers at nickel, whatever you want to do, I think that could be where that money could be spent, is a 1-year deal for someone who's high impact. Maybe a Rasul Douglas would be interesting. But then at safety, that's where the depth is, as well is. You got Malachi Starks, Alohi Gilman, Keanu Jackson, Rayshawn Jenkins, and I guess you can include Kyle Hamilton. But that's a great safety room, great pass rusher room. This would be so much fun. If this was the projected depth chart, this could easily be a 12 or 13 win team with Jesse Minter at the helm, Anthony Weaver as his defensive coordinator, and Declan Doyle with a Chicago Bears-esque, Broncos-esque offense. This would be a top 5 team in the NFL. So let me know, guys, think in the comments down below what you think of this projected depth chart. I love it. I think it kind of fixes a lot of the issues. And again, you still got $30 million. You could go out and sign one more premier starting caliber corner, and just kind of feel comfortable if someone goes down with injury. You have a guy you believe in. But if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.